I don't remember questionable.
Questionable?
Yep.
Yeah, you heard what he said.
I mean, questionable. All right, look, I'm gonna let y'all talk.
You
dancing.
know what that is.
No, because I got a lot to
dancing.
say. I'm not dancing.
You
around.
save a lot
I got
to
a
say.
lot to
Answer
say.
the man's question. It was a simple
Does
question.
he have a questionable win?
A questionable W was the question.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But we're gonna go back to the whole resume shit. Listen, you made a whole argument. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
About
When I brought up Bud fighting Canelo, when I said he's never seen Canelo before, but Canelo's seen Bud. The point I was trying to make is Canelo has fought Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm.
Canelo has fought the best generational fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Bud has never fought a generational fighter. Earl is not a generational fighter. So that's the whole point I was trying to make when we talk about resume. He's not no fucking generational fighter, bro.
You like using that
Listen.
term a lot now.
No. But the point I'm trying to make, I'm making.
Like, because if we start throwing that
Not
word
everybody,
around,
but no, the point I'm trying to make is not everybody is a generational
right?
fighter.
Not
Not
you
everybody.
can't throw that word around loosely.
Not everybody is elite, and that's cool.
I agree.
All right.
I agree.
Listen, hold on, let me finish. Since you want me to talk, motherfucker. Listen.
being so nasty.
Listen, Bud, listen. He got my blood. Yo, let me borrow some of your pills real quick, nigga. Get my blood pressure right there. Listen, I like Earl. I think he's a great boxer.
No, you don't. Even
I'm a
Q shaking
fan.
his head.
Listen, I'm a fan of boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of Earl. I just never had him up here. How everybody up? Just say the same way you don't have Tank up here. I'm a huge I have Tank up here. You don't. That's your opinion, but that's not to say that you don't think Tank is a good fighter. You still think he's a good fighter, right?
Well, the difference between that little analogy that you use is that you used to have Earl up here. I rock with you, bro.
Listen.
You used to have Q.
Yes. I'm not
He used
saying
to have
listen,
Earl up there. That's the only. I don't care if you curse. That ain't gonna make your point no. That's the only thing that I'm saying is that he backtracked. Once he got on the Bud wagon, he felt he had to backtrack because this man used to talk highly of Earl. Earl was that.
Listen,
Very obvious.
Fact, right wrong.
And
okay, that's the only problem I have with that, coach.
As much as me and you have talked boxing, right? Tell me if I'm lying. I told you I started paying attention to Bud after what fight? I always doubted that man, but I started paying attention to Bud after he beat who?
He don't remember, but just
So
because
long
you
story
start
short.
liking Bud, don't mean you gotta answer
listen.
Earl.
The point I'm trying to make is I started really paying attention to Bud and his style of fighting. So now I'm really analyzing this dude, and I'm analyzing Earl. Earl has not been the same fighter, bro. And I told y'all niggas that years ago.
You were saying that.
When I started to see the decline. Listen, I told you the other day. You give me Earl, that 4 Kell Brook, that Earl, consistently.
Yeah.
I'm not going against him. I'm not
some-
going
Bud
against him.
consistent
let me
in
get
every
some of your
fight.
point,
You
though.
get the same Bud in every fight.
You see a motherfucking warrior in every fight.
Yo, let me say something to his point though, because Earl just made a statement that was big not too long ago, where he said something to the effect that if he really he just wouldn't drink or party. He would suggest that if anybody was chasing that level of greatness, that they wouldn't. I'm just what do they call it, sub. Whatever he said, you know what I'm saying? I'm just generalizing what he said, but he was just like, he wouldn't have drank. He wouldn't suggest drinking anything like that, which lets you know he was out there partying, doing his thing, whatever, and that's how that accident possibly happened, allegedly, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? He got into 2 accidents, matter of fact.
But you started to see his decline.
Right, and then you started to see his decline.
You started to see the fighters decline. Just like some people might say, listen, I'm starting to see Tank's decline. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying people who may have, maybe overanalyzing certain fighters or really paying attention to certain fighters, they might see something that me and you don't see.
So let me ask you a question. Since we got off the topic of the Hall of Fame and we on the Earl topic now,
for that too.
So you're saying that you saw a decline in Earl's performance against you guys?
Absolutely.
You saw a decline in Earl's performance against Sean Porter?
Absolutely.
You saw a decline in Earl's fight against Danny Garcia?
Absolutely.
Okay. The only time you didn't see Earl at his peak was just with the Carol Brook fight.
No.
When he first got his belt.
When he fought Chris Algier, when he fought Kell Brook, Chris Algier. After that, I started to see that slow. You can tell, bro. You can tell like he was partying too much. Listen, man. Listen, man. If I'm a fan of you and I'm paying attention to you, I can start